SummerSlam is 2 nights for the first time ever next weekend at MetLife Stadium. Over 40,000 tickets sold for each night. We now have the lineups for night 1 and night 2. So I'm going to run through these and give my predictions, even though we do have one Raw and one SmackDown left to go. Some of my favorite matches have taken place at SummerSlam through the years. Bret Hart and Owen Hart in the cage is still my favorite out of all of them. I saw WWE just posted the full match to its YouTube channel. John Cena and AJ Styles in Brooklyn. Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect at Madison Square Garden. Rick Rude gave the Ultimate Warrior one of his greatest matches in '89. CM Punk and Brock Lesnar. The Shawn Michaels Razor Ramon ladder rematch. The Triple H and Rock ladder match. Hart Foundation against Demolition. Best 2 out of 3 falls. Undertaker and Mankind Boiler Room Brawl. The finish of the match in '97 between Bret Hart and The Undertaker with Shawn Michaels as the guest referee is still one of the all-time great match finishes. Just so much history at this show, and as I look at the card, the only match that stands out to me that really has me excited is the triple threat match for the women's world title. After what we saw from Rhea Ripley at Io Sky at WrestleMania, and again at Evolution, I know what those two can deliver. And so now you drop Naomi in there, and I don't know if it can rival what Rhea, Io, and Bianca did at WrestleMania, but if they can come close, it's going to steal the show. That or the TLC match. But the rest of the card is pretty solid overall, so let's start with SummerSlam Saturday, which has a 6 p.m. Eastern start time, so be aware of that. Both nights do. I feel like she hasn't been mentioned as much lately, but Cardi B is still hosting the show, as far as I can tell. Just added, Sami Zayn gets his rematch with Karrion Kross. Kross actually gets back-to-back PLE appearances. When was the last time that happened? Sami won the first one at Night of Champions. Kross beat him on Raw last Monday, even though it took a steel pipe and a distraction from Scarlett to get it done, and Sami had busted up ribs. But he won. And so now this is the rubber match. The match they had on Monday was pretty boring. It was mostly just Sami selling the ribs. I hope this is more exciting than that was. And the finish may tell us a story because the reports I've seen say that Kross has a contract expiring in August. And they have supposedly not even had discussions yet on a new one, which I find very hard to believe. If Kross actually wins this, there's no way he's not working without a new deal. But I don't think Kross is winning. I think Sami wins, but he cheats to do so. Or maybe Kross tries to cheat and Sami, takes advantage of the situation. Something like that. This whole thing has been about Kross getting Sami to prove his point. Right? He's yelling at him every single week, say I'm right. Right? That he's no different than anybody else, and he'll do what it takes to win and be champion. I don't think it needs to lead to a Sami Zayn heel turn, but I think Sami taking the low road to win, maybe Kross introduces the pipe, but Sami gets it and uses it to win the match, and then telling Kross what he's been wanting to hear for weeks. You were right. Kross was right. I think that's how it ends. So Kross loses, but he gets to hear those magic words that he's been wanting to hear. In the end, he gets what he wants. Kind of like that first match in NXT between Aleister Black and Velveteen Dream. All Dream wanted Aleister to do was acknowledge him and say his name. And he wouldn't do it. And then Black won the match, but then he sat down next to Dream and remember he said the words Velveteen Dream and it was this big pop. And even though he lost the match, Velveteen Dream got exactly what he wanted. So it's kind of the same concept. We have Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez defending the women's tag team titles against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. And this pairing between Bliss and Flair has been working wonders for Charlotte. If you just take a look and listen to the crowd reactions, and she looks like she's having more fun out there than she has in years. And the belief is that they wanted to do a singles match between Flair and Alexa, and Charlotte was the one who put the kibosh on that and said, no. We got to keep this pairing going for a little while longer. And that was the right call to make. So these two teams, they come into this one with 1 win apiece in singles matches. Charlotte beat Raquel last week, and this week Roxanne pinned Alexa. So it's even Steven. I think this is where you do a title change. Whether it happens here or it happens in Paris or some other time, Charlotte and Alexa, they're going to win the tag team titles. This just feels like the right time and place to do it. And give them a little bit of a run. Let this thing run for a little while longer. It's working. Why would you break this? It's like the Randy Orton, Matt Riddle, RK Bro thing. Yeah, that was never planned to be a long-term thing, but it worked. It was organic. So, you run with it. Eventually, you can split them up and do what you want to. But for Charlotte, I mean, it's just been working wonders. I don't know why you would want to fight against the tide. Just run with it. And I think putting the titles on them here is the right decision to make. That's what I think they're going to do. I think we're going to have new tag team champions. Speaking of Randy Orton in tag teams, it's no Matt Riddle, but we have Randy Orton and Jelly Roll against Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. Why is this happening? This is happening because WWE loves its celebrity involvement. Jelly Roll is genuinely a big WWE fan, and they have gotten publicity out of it that they otherwise would not have gotten by doing Randy Orton against Drew McIntyre. So that's why they're doing it. It's an attraction. It's in the middle of the card. It's not the main event. It's not WrestleMania 1 with Mr. T in the main event. It's a mid-card attraction. You saw the Jimmy Kimmel angle a couple of weeks ago. They had Jelly Roll guest hosting Jimmy Kimmel Live, and he had Randy Orton on as his guest. Drew McIntyre crashed the party. Logan Paul crashed the party. Then he went crashing through the table. And then Jelly Roll got to give a big plug for SummerSlam at the end of the segment. That's why they're doing it. They did an angle on SmackDown Friday night where Jelly Roll got to do a few moves. He barely moved. All he really had to do was stand there. Logan Paul was basically running into him, but it got a big reaction. I mean, he's been putting work in at the Performance Center. All you need to do is teach him just a few moves, right? Just teach him only what he needs to know. Let Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul, who I'm sure is going to spend most of the match working with Jelly Roll. I don't see Jelly Roll doing too much stuff with Drew McIntyre. Logan Paul was doing great on Friday, just bouncing off the guy and taking bumps for him. That's all this needs to be. And I think Randy Orton and Jelly Roll get the win. I don't think they're bringing in Jelly Roll, to be the big babyface hero here and then lose. The only thing I hope is that if the babyfaces win, let it be Logan Paul who takes the losing fall. I don't know what Jelly Roll's finish is going to be. Maybe it's called the Jelly Roll, right? It would be kind of perfect. I don't know what that would look like. I don't know if he's going to do a fucking destroyer or something off the ropes. But if he comes up with one big finish that can pop the crowd, you can have him pin Logan Paul or have him do a move and then let Randy Orton drop him with an RKO and then he can win. But I think Randy Orton and Jelly Roll get the win in this match. Jade Cargill won Queen of the Ring to earn the right to challenge Tiffany Stratton for the WWE Women's Championship. This has not been good. You have two women here who, I mean, they're characters. They don't have any real depth to them. They're both baby faces, even though Tiffany still acts more like a heel when she's out there. Triple H is clearly actively doing everything in his power not to have them speak too much on the microphone. And there's just nothing terribly interesting about this match other than how will Jade look in there with someone like Tiffany, who does not have the kind of experience that someone like Asuka has, or Becky, or Charlotte. These two had a match on SmackDown right after WrestleMania that, as I recall, it was okay. It wasn't that bad, but it wasn't that good either. I don't believe that this was Triple H's original plan. I think Liv Morgan's injury caused them to blow up their plans and have Naomi cash in earlier than they otherwise would have. I think they moved Naomi over to Raw to fill the void left by Liv. Otherwise, I think we would have gotten the cash in here. Then there's Bianca Belair. How did her injury affect plans here, if at all? She just told CBS Sports one of the fingers that she broke, because she broke multiple fingers at WrestleMania and kept wrestling. But one of the fingers that she broke at WrestleMania, she broke in 3 different places and at the joint. And it healed, but it still won't bend. And you can't wrestle with a straight finger because it'll just break again. So she can't even sew, right? She makes all of her own gear. She can't even do that. So she's waiting to see if it heals on its own or if she's going to need surgery to fix it. Until that time, she can't get medically cleared to wrestle. They let her referee that one match at Evolution, but she can't take bumps or anything. So it may still be a while yet before we see Bianca back in the mix. So this is the match that we ended up with. I think Jade is winning. I think Jade is winning the championship. Tiffany's entire run so far, since beating Charlotte, has been completely forgettable. This is the same issue that they had with Io coming out of WrestleMania. A very forgettable few months that followed WrestleMania. Since WrestleMania, she's had a couple of TV matches with Nia Jax and a match with Trish Stratus at Evolution that came out of nowhere. That's been her run so far. Whether she loses the title here or not, they need to move someone over from Raw, especially if Bianca is going to be out for a while longer. Becky or Bayley. I think Becky Lynch makes more sense if she drops the title to Lyra. Move her over to SmackDown. Coming out of this show, I feel like they could use her more on Fridays than they can on Mondays. Roman Reigns extended the invitation to Jay Uso to tag with him against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, the Braun Bronze. I don't know if you saw Jay's video in response to Roman's in his gym doing cardio, and he basically issues the invite to his cousin. Jay responds later on with a video of his own. I think it was at like 2 o'clock in the morning. If you saw the video, that man was gone. He was just on another planet in that video. I don't know if he was drunk or high or both, but he looked like he couldn't tell you his own name if you asked him. Coming out of WrestleMania, I thought we would eventually get Roman Reigns and CM Punk against these two, not Jey Uso. The match that I really want to see is Roman Reigns one-on-one against Braun Breaker. And we got a little face-to-face with them in the ring on Raw Monday night. And I love that Braun Breaker line when he looked at him and goes, "I'm the big dog now." It's like, I'm the captain now. So here we're going to get a little taste of it. And if they really want to show how invested they are in these two men, and Braun Breaker in particular, they would have Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed win this match, which is what I'm predicting. I've got the heels to win. Not only do I have the heels to win, I think it's Braun Breaker pinning Roman Reigns to do it. There's a bold prediction for you. Jey Uso already lost the world title. He's been knocked down a peg, but he's still super over, right? Roman's never around. He's leaving again after this to go film his role as Akuma in the new Street Fighter movie. Which, again, I don't think they'll need him for very long, probably. But if this year is any indication, Roman was probably going to disappear after SummerSlam anyway. So he loses nothing by losing. Jey Uso is the one who's still going to be around. I honestly wouldn't be going and pinning Jey Uso. Roman loses nothing by losing here in a tag situation. Breaker gains everything by beating someone like Roman Reigns and being able to say, hey, I got a pinfall win over the guy who went without a pinfall loss for like 3 or 4 years. And if not, if they don't want to do that, then at least have him take Roman out on Raw the following Monday, and send him off to his movie that way. But I want to see Braun Breaker put over in a major way, one way or another. Don't tap dance around it. Don't be afraid to really put someone over. Roman and Jay do not need to win this match. Seth's group could use the boost. And Gunther defends the World Heavyweight Championship against CM Punk. First time ever televised, because they had a cage match in Chicago about 7 or 8 months ago. Finally, someone new for CM Punk to work with. And finally, CM Punk gets the MetLife Stadium main event that he should have been in back in 2013, but better late than never. Punk has had some great matches since coming back. Gunther always has great matches. He just gave Bill Goldberg a 14-minute retirement match, and it didn't suck. That's the measure of a great worker right there. I think this is going to be a very good match, and I don't think either one of these men are leaving MetLife as the World Heavyweight Champion. I believe that we are getting a Money in the Bank cash-in from Seth Rollins. I don't think he is as hurt as they want you to believe that he is. Now, he may be hurt, and maybe SummerSlam is being optimistic. Maybe SummerSlam is rushing it, and he won't be ready for that. I fully acknowledge that. And if I'm wrong, and there is no Seth Rollins cash-in, then I think Gunther puts Punk out with the sleeper hold to retain. I think it's as simple as that. I don't think Punk is leaving with the World Heavyweight title. But I do think Seth is cashing in, and he's doing it during the match, not after, because remember his vow, right? His vow was, with every last breath in his lungs, to make sure that CM Punk never wins another world title. So letting him win it and then taking it away from him 2 minutes later, it doesn't really make as much sense as depriving him of it in the first place and shattering his dreams, right? That'll be the big, shocking ending. And Rollins pins Punk to win the triple threat and win the world title. So Gunther doesn't have to take the pin.